The Internet is a free and public space, but corporations are trying to control it. They are trying to use the Internet for capitalistic gains and to further their own interests. This control by capitalism is not something that is new. In the past, through pre-Internet technologies, the content that was produced was controlled by capitalists as well as the state.
Can't we agree that capitalism is an economic system? A system for the production and distribution of things we need and want?
I won't agree to that. Not until you say something about government, too. There has to be a legal basis for any economic system to operate.
Well, it's easy to see that you have different ideas of what capitalism is. Maybe we should talk about what it is not. It is not a system of strict governmental control and planning in which a dictator or board tells people what jobs they may hold and what goods they may produce.
And it's not a system of government ownership.
The information the public was receiving from media sources, such as newspapers and the news, was likely the only information that they would get, because before the creation of the Internet, people had very little access to information that was not produced by the economic system. Due to the fact that all previous media systems were highly centralized technologies, they were susceptible to regulatory mechanisms and centralized ownership, which allowed easy regulation and censorship. The commercial communication systems of the pre-Internet era actively diminished communicative freedom, while the Internet clearly enhances communicative freedom to the point where it is seen as a problem of social control by the state and the market. Through the use of the Internet, corporations are losing their power over the general public. We are now able to gain access to information that we could not get before. Instead of being told what we can and cannot see, and having the information that we get being chosen for us, we now have the power to choose. This is due in part to the fact that the production of meaning within the Internet is beyond corporate control. In fact, to a certain degree, it is antagonistic toward corporate goals. By that I mean that corporations have agendas and goals, and they achieve these goals by creating a corporate culture. This is done through controlling what the public knows. With an Internet that provides the consumer with extensive communication and knowledge resources that are beyond the control of the corporate sector, this could interrupt the socialization process within this corporate culture. People might start having opinions of their own. We can't have that now, can we? The Internet provides the public with power, and this power enables them to think for themselves and decide that they do not agree with everything that corporations are telling them. They now have the power to not only reject ideologies, but they can make their own opinions heard. One of the main social functions of the Internet is that it enables the public to reinterpret privately owned messages and meanings. As technology continues to develop, so does the capacity of an individual to create and share their own beliefs and meanings. Through the increase in high-speed connections and improvements in email technologies, as well as user-friendly image manipulation software, the general public now have access to the widespread modification and exchange of all forms of advertisement and social and political images. Technology is used to go against corporations. This is not only done by the public, but even within the commercial sector. Technology is used to evade control measures by other corporations. A trend that is being seen more and more on the Internet is something that is called culture jamming. Dr. Strangelove defines culture jamming in his book, The Empire of Mind, as the destruction of commercially produced meanings. The idea of culture jamming is something that encompasses an enormous range of tactics across all mediums, and is usually appropriative in that it uses corporate intellectual property without permission, and is therefore usually illegal. Its goal is to challenge or destroy all forms of corporate intellectual property.
One way that previous mediums has controlled and censored is by making it difficult for the public to make connections between events. The Internet has done the opposite by making it easy to correlate events and issues. We can now dig into the past and see patterns that exist, and this makes us more aware of what's going on in the world around us. This does not make corporations very happy. Corporate culture authority requires a certain level of forgetfulness on the part of the audience. And the Internet does precisely the opposite to collective memory and the flow of information. The interconnected, hypertextual character of the Internet allows the online audience to track trends, make comparisons, and connect the dots. The capitalist system requires a certain degree of control over the past, present, and future. This is not to say that the Internet controls your memory, but rather what we now have is access to the information. It is more likely that we would have heard something that is similar to the news topic and make the link. And if not, it is very easy to look up something online and find similar stories. Corporations are not a fan of this new process of gathering information because new communication technology has made it much harder to control the production and distribution of information, which in turn makes it harder to organize social action. Without being able to organize social action, individuals can now choose a different path than that of the corporation. Basically, this would result in the corporation losing money, which is a quite devastating thing in our capitalist society. One of the key elements of the Internet is the fact that it is supposedly uncensored. Although attempts have been made to censor the Internet, the fact of the matter is, as it stands now, it is impossible to censor what's on the Internet. It is one of the things that makes it so different from other types of commercial media. Some voices will always be silenced by self-censorship, and there are those who have been threatened by governmental regimes or certain individuals. Keep in mind that these rare instances of pressure tactics and even direct censorship could not result in any significant reduction of opinions. The Internet's unique structural design makes the forced permanent removal of the opinion literally virtually impossible.
I want to show you something. Do a search for Larry Silverstein mistype pulled the building. And number 2 search results, Yahoo answers. How can anyone deny that Larry Silverstein... How can anyone deny that when Larry Silverstein said pull it, he meant implode building 7? This is the Google cache search results. If we go back and click on the link directly to the site and not the cache search results, we get, this question has been deleted. Sorry, customer care had to remove this question. Click here to read our community guidelines.
A case in Canadian history that is a good example of the lack of effectiveness in Internet censorship is that of Carla Homolka. The judge on the case placed a publication ban on the proceedings. This did not prove to be very effective because, in spite of the court effort, Canadians who wanted banned information could easily access a number of websites in the United States which provided information about the trial. This, therefore, proves the inability to censor the Internet. A popular way of control in recent history has been the use of filtering software. This may seem like a simple, reasonable solution, and one that is free from any threat to the freedom of expression. However, the software companies pre-select the sites to be blocked, and this raises questions concerning what might or might not be specifically blocked, and by whom, for whom, and in whose interests. This again leads back to the fact that corporations are choosing what information the public will receive. Another form of censorship that has been seen on the Internet is self-censorship, where webmasters of various sites rate and label the potential degree, or the level of indecency, or patent offense of the content that appears on the site. Not to worry, however, as we've yet to find a way to block content that is completely foolproof.
Reasons for this lack of censorship lay in the legal boundaries that surround the Internet. The first problem is that legislators and courts will have to face a new approach in the Internet and have to understand the genuine complexity of this new medley of technologies and anticipate how decisions and policies concerning its potential benefits and dangers could affect its future value to society. There are pros and cons to every situation in this case. Each new advance in the technology communications disturbs the status quo. It meets resistance from those whose dominance is threatened, but, if useful, begins to be adopted by the same forces. There are many things that need to be taken into account when it comes to censorship. Current controversy surrounding the freedom of communication on the net is specifically directed at how much regulation, if any, is actually feasible.
Essentially, the only way of completely censoring Internet content is to block an Internet connection altogether. This measure has been used in some nations with strict governmental regimes, or nations with predominantly religious aversions to the nature of the medium.
We believe that finding a happy medium when it comes to censorship is key. At this point, there are advantages to censoring absolutely unethical practices, such as the distribution of child pornography, for example. We do hope, however, that the Internet remains the limitless and absolutely incredible network that it is today. And if not, at least we'll be able to make fun of it.
Things that my mother taught me. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. You. Hold it on for the ladies.
Something or someone has old in their name.
Old mother...
Old mother... Socks and shiny...
You mean these?
And his final response was, you.